No. Oh my god. Are none of these games gonna let me give them more than a 7 out of 10? These games all suck. Wait. What's that one? Katamari. I heard of that game. Never really played it before. Could be interesting. Let's give it a shot. This is what doing LSD is like. Katamari Damacy is a weird-ass game, and I fucking love it, so screw the intro, we're playing Katamari Damacy for the PlayStation 2. Let's go! Yeah!
Presentation.
Katamari Damacy was released in 2002 by Namco for the PlayStation 2, and my god, is it weird. You play as the Prince, son of King of the Cosmos. The game starts off with a cutscene where your dad gets super drunk and destroys all the stars in the sky, and he tells you as his son to pick up random shit on Earth with a Katamari, a ball that makes everything smaller than it, stick to it for some reason, and wow. Yeah, anybody else a bit distracted here? Jeez, Dad, get that shit out of my face. Anyway, the king, who refers to himself as both a he and a we for some reason, sends you off on this journey starting at the height of about 5 centimeters. Your job is to roll the Katamari big enough to make a star out of it. After you've made your Katamari big enough, the king takes it and turns it into a star by blowing it up. There are also cutscenes with this family going to see their dad fly in a rocket to the moon later that day. I don't get why these cutscenes are here or how they add to anything, but they have a certain strange charm to them. Except when you beat a constellation. Your daughter can sense what's going on, and this happens.
Oh, I feel it. I feel the cosmos. Cancer King scuttling back. So yummy.
Yeah, sure you do. The game's look is very colorful and pleasing to the eye. All the objects pop and some even react when being picked up, such as animals and people. On top of that, everything has a very Japanese feel. Like, no, this game could only be made by the Japanese. Let's watch some of the intro cutscene and you can decide for yourself. I love the art style and find it to be very unique. Although I do wish the locales were a bit more varied. You start in the same house in like 5 different levels and there's not that many levels to begin with. And you have to go to the same locations in a lot of different levels as well. And now, the music. My god, this music is awesome! This game has to be in my top 5 game soundtracks of all time. And that theme just makes me so happy. Listen to it! Some of the soundtrack is repeated in later levels, but I don't even care, it's so fantastic. Between this and the graphics, I wish more games had the balls to go this outside the box with their presentation.
Gameplay.
The gameplay of Katamari Damacy is super simple. Roll the ball into small stuff to get them to stick. Once your ball gets bigger, you can roll up bigger stuff. Also, you can turbocharge, and if you pick up something that makes your ball lopsided, your Katamari will do a weird pole vault hobble thing to get it everywhere until you smooth it out. And that's pretty much all you do for the entire game. There are a few variations here and there where you're tasked with collecting a lot of a certain object or collecting the largest of a certain kind of object you can find, but generally you're going to be doing the same thing most of the game. which is perfectly fine because picking things up with a Katamari is one of the most satisfying feelings ever put into a game. Starting a level by running from snails and growing to the size of picking up buildings feels amazing and powerful. The game can be challenging your first time through, but after that, the only major challenge is getting a large enough Katamari that the king won't scrutinize you. Dad, you're a fucking asshole. The controls feel kind of weird at first, but they grow on you. Eventually you'll be rolling around like a pro. However, there are a few problems with the gameplay. Rolling into a wall holding forward is supposed to get you to roll your ball over the ledge, but it only works about 50% of the time. I often wish that I had a jump button instead to allow for easier travel. On top of that, the camera can sometimes get really confused, leaving you completely clueless as to where you're going. And finally, there isn't much indication as to what you can or can't pick up. There were many occasions when I was clearly taller and more massive than what I was going to pick up, but couldn't. I'm not sure what qualifies this, but it could have been organized better. Maybe have a button that causes all the objects you can pick up to glow briefly? Also, while I do like a bit of variety with the constellation levels, I do think the addition of some extra gimmicks could have been nice. Maybe rolling the Katamari into some water to roll through flaming bushes to get to a new area, or racing a car with your Katamari, or dodgeball. There's so much potential with this concept, and while the finished game is really fun, it just sparked my imagination for what could be done in the future. Oh, and going back to the same locations can get repetitive sometimes, despite this being a short game to begin with, but it's also cool to return at a larger size and collect objects that gave you trouble on your previous trip. In spite of all these flaws, the game is still tons of fun to play and really impressive too. I mean, you can go from as small as an ant picking things up inside a house to being large enough to roll up the house you started in without ever seeing a loading screen. There's just a little blurry transition that lasts for about a second, allowing the world to shrink relative to your size every time you grow, but this game runs flawlessly, and I never managed to get myself stuck within a level despite actually trying to see if I could. Seriously, this game is weird, but the programming has some great structure.
Mighty conclusion.
Katamari Damacy is a weird-ass game. It's a really weird game, but my god do I love it. Everything about it is just so satisfying and unique. It's something you won't find in any other game. While I do wish that they, fleshed out the mechanics a bit more, I can't fault them for making a nice, quick, short, easily digestible, and extremely original game, which is why I'm giving Katamari Damacy 8.5 sticky balls out of 10. Oh man, if only there were more games about rolling a ball around that came onto the market. If only. No. No. I'm good on sticky ball games. I take it back. No, please, no, please.